And welcome back to another week of Behind the Lens. I'm Debbie Lynn Elias, film critic to 150 some outlets in the U.S. and abroad, in print and online. But every Monday you can find me right here at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern on Adrenaline Radio. And thrilled to be here today on this summer solstice, first day of summer, or as I like to call it, the hotter than hell day. But at Behind the Lens, that has a double meaning today, because not only is it 100 plus degrees outside in Southern California, but we have one of the hottest soap opera stars in the history of General Hospital joining us. Ian Buchanan is here live at 11:30, and he'll be talking about a very special short film that we have been championing for over a year now. Along with his writer, director, and producer, SHERI SUSSMAN. The short film is One Night in Hollywood, and Sheri's got some exciting information about it so that all of you will now be able to see this film and a performance from Ian that all of his fans will fall in love with. And plus, I want to hear a little bit about his recent trip to Bhutan and the film that he was working on there, and then see if the rumors are true about being directed by, I don't know, somebody named Finola Hughes in another film coming up. But that'll be at 11:30. At 11:15, we have an incredible director joining us, Benson Lee. He has a new film that is out, I think, on VOD tomorrow, called SEOUL SEARCHIng, as in SEOUL. It is, think John Hughes with an Asian vibe and the best of an 80s soundtrack that you could ever think of. We got a little bit Ferris Bueller, we've got a little bit 16 Candles, and we got a lot of Breakfast Club with some indelible characters and actors. So Benson will be with us at 11:15. But before we get to that, it's Monday, Brian. It's Monday. We need a Star Wars countdown. He's checking here.
Sorry, yeah, I'm posting online here for the show. Okay, so the Star Wars countdown,
yes,
which I look forward to every Monday, as well as the show.
I know you do, and we all know that Nick Kroll of LA River looks forward to it too.
Yeah. Star Wars Episode 8, as of today,
yes,
is less than it was last week.
This is true.
We're at 542 days, 12 hours, 56 minutes, and after I am done speaking, we'll be at 30 seconds to go.
Okay.
But
I don't want to wait that long.
No, neither do I.
I don't want to wait that long, and I want to see Alan Tudyk, so...
Yes, a former guest
yes,
of Behind the Lens. For Rogue One and Alan, we have 178 days, 12 hours, and 56 minutes to go, which is considerably less than last week also.
That is much considerably less, even though today is, the longest day of the year.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait a little bit longer today. Just today, though.
But being the longest day of the year, do you know we have 15 hours of daylight today?
Do we really?
We do. 15 hours of daylight.
I'm out of here at 9, so it'll probably still be...
9 tonight?
Yeah.
Sun may just be setting, like 8:30 or 8:45.
That's awesome.
But...
You know what I could do without is 100-degree weather.
Well, and that's just it. Which is why... the best thing to do today, after you're done listening to Behind the Lens, is to head to your nearest movie theater and see the blockbuster of the weekend, which even you went and saw, Brian.
I did, and I went too because it was hot. I found the seats because my movie theater, my local movie theater, is reserved seating.
Mm-hmm.
I happened to find 2 seats, one for myself and my girlfriend, and the air conditioning was awesome. Go to your movie theater, go watch the movie that I will let you introduce.
No, you tell us which one is this, because you have great affection for some of the new characters.
I do, and the movie we're speaking about that smashed the box office,
$136.02 million in the U.S. and Canada, another $50 million overseas.
Finding Dory.
And it is, you heard a little bit about Finding Dory last week with a couple clips of my exclusive interview with producer Lindsey Collins. We'll hear more from Lindsey, as well as Ellen DeGeneres and Ed O'Neill in a few minutes. But so what did you think? A lot of people are hyping it as better than Finding Nemo. I think it's a totally different adventure story, my big fascination with this film, beyond all the indelible, charming characters, and of course my pick of this film, Hank. And when you watch the video, you're going to see Hank is front and center, the coolest orange octopus on the planet, or septopus.
Septopus, yeah.
Thanks to a nasty child that, removed a tentacle. You got to watch those kids. But this is a technical marvel, people. What has happened, what Pixar has done with the new technology. We're getting my, optical technician. I was talking to him yesterday, as a matter of fact, and he is psyched to see this because he understands refraction and reflection so well. This is something we now get for the very first time in animation, in computer animation, is refraction and reflection. We've got bubbles within bubbles, individual signature bubbles that are now created with the next edition RenderMan proprietary software. So it's a visual, it's resplendent delight. It really is. And it's a more intimate journey than what Finding Nemo was. It's a more personal journey as opposed to a grand scope of searching through all the oceans. But it is just charming beyond charming. Yes, you do need tissues. But we all know my love for Hank so much I went out and bought a Hank yesterday.
What about Piper?
Isn't Piper that's one of the great things that we have. I wish everybody would do this now. There are enough short films being made that I wish all theaters would start putting short films in front of their feature presentation. We don't need 20 minutes of trailers, people. Let's have, let's pull an arc light. Let's do 3 trailers, and then let's do a short film. Piper is, I'm telling you now, it is next year's Best Animated Feature Academy Award winner.
It was beautiful. Not even story-wise was it beautiful, because it was. Visually,
it's about a little hatchling sandpiper, and he's being taught to eat as ocean waves are rushing up on his poor little fluffy self. And he's not supposed to be fluffy, but he gets pretty fluffy when he gets run over by a wave.
I've worked with digital animation, and to see a character from fluff, from feathers, the sleekness of a bird, to the fluff that he got into after,
and scattered fluff at that.
Yeah, it was beautiful,
yeah.
Visually beautiful. And the story's awesome, and it's just, I love, like you said, Pixar for doing this, for having an animated short before the feature. And I honestly forgot that I was going to watch an animated feature until I saw, the Disney logo pop up, and I was like, oh, that's right, there's a film within the film before the film.
And of course, what about water? This is something that this new proprietary software has done. The water in Finding Dory is outstanding. The different textures, the viscosity, the clarity. I mean, it's stunning. But we also see that, and much of what we saw in The Good Dinosaur also, as the waves come rushing in, and we have a camera little Piper view underneath the waves, which your heart just melts. Your heart melts. It is every short film that Pixar does just gets better and better on every level. And this one is the pinnacle of their little shorts right now, I think. What do you think?
I liked it visually. I think if we're going to pick favorites here, my favorite one still has to be Lava. Lava just won me completely over. But I don't have a Pixar short that I don't like more than the other one.
I mean,
they're all great.
It's like Blue Umbrella was fabulous. Paperman
was great, I was about to say.
And each one is so creative, so inventive in its storytelling, in its animation style.
Even when you go back to Knick Knack.
Yeah.
That one was that I could watch that. I love that one. I love that one.
So, I mean, it's a win-win. It's a win-win combination for you with Finding Dory, Piper and Finding Dory. So stay out of the heat. Go to the theater. By the time our show ends today, most theaters have like a 1:00 screen, and you can make it there in no time at all. So that just, you must see Finding Dory and Piper. It's absolutely spectacular. So what is it?
And stay after the credits, because I saw a ton of people leaving after, and Disney has conditioned us to stay after the credits, but definitely stick around for that, because there is a scene after the fact, after the movie.
that you all will want to see.
Yes, it's hilarious, and it ties. There was a lot of elements from Finding Dory that explain things that were happening in Finding Nemo. This one is another one that ties up a loose end from Finding Nemo that you're going to definitely want to stick around for.
So that is our absolute pick of the week here, without a doubt. Now, of course, next week will be interesting because Friday, Independence Day Resurgence opens, and I'm screening that on Friday. I was told that there were no pre-release screenings, so I'm going to see that at 11 o'clock Friday morning, and I'm really looking forward to it. But back to Dory for a minute. My favorite character is Hank. Brian has a surprise favorite character.
Bailey. Bailey steals the screen in this movie. Love Bailey. He's voiced by Ty Burrell, one of my favorite comedy sitcom actors. Well, he's not a sitcom because it's the comedy drama Modern Family, which Hank, who's voiced by Ed O'Neill, is also a star of, which I thought was cool. And then
Ellen, of course.
Ellen is awesome as Dory.
And of course, then we've got Diane Keaton and Eugene Levy as Dory's parents, Jenny and Charlie. And Diane Keaton does doting mother so well. Just picture her in Father of the Bride to, getting flustery and high-pitched voice, and immediately she is the perfect mother for Dory to have. So, it is a must-see. I can't believe Bailey. You picked Bailey.
Bailey, I loved. Immediately, as soon as I saw him, I connected with him in his inability to want to use his gift. When he was unable to, I forgot what kind of breed of whale he is, but it's one of those whales that has sonar that they're able to see.
Echolocation. He's a beluga whale.
Yeah, beluga whale. He's
a beluga.
I loved him.
And then his friend Destiny is a whale shark.
Yeah.
So we get, and the research that goes into these films and went into Finding Dory in terms of the various fish and the various sea life and the colors and even the undersea environment. It's extensive, and you've got a lot of great science involved in the film as well. But it never feels like a teaching film. It's kind of like Dory, learning things from Sigourney Weaver says. And I'm sure Sigourney Weaver says out there, go see Finding Dory.
You know what was funny is my experience watching the film. Fan interaction with a film isn't, encouraged, I guess. But there was a lot of kids in the movie theater with their parents. And the opening scene of Finding Dory is a baby Dory, which I'm sure you've seen the photo of because it was circulating on Facebook and social media. And if you haven't seen it yet, you're not one of those $135 million that was made. Well, then you got to go watch it now. But the opening scene is a baby Dory. And you can't help but go, oh, as soon as you see it. The entire theater, I did it too. The entire theater let out awe together,
a collective awe. And she has this cute little lisp, and it's so adorable. No, it's on every level. It's magical. I said it. 2 fins up, swimmingly sensational. You name it. It is a Dory bowl.
How many more do you have? Please give me another one. Give me another pun. I love puns.
No, I'm out of puns right now.
Okay.
I'm out of puns. My brain is unpunning right now. But in order to hear a little bit more about Finding Dory, how about if we hear more from producer Lindsey Collins during our exclusive interview, talking about working with water.
The other thing, to be honest, that was in some ways even harder, at least on the first film, but on this film too, was all of the glass containers. I mean, because it's one thing to have water uncontained. I mean, right. Kind of off in the distance, and you want to feel the viscosity of it or the surface of the water, which is always challenging. Right. But when you've got water contained in glass, tanks or carafes or sippy cups
and coffee pods,
and how that camera goes around the corner. I mean, you see that when you're in an aquarium and how it refracts. And that, where is the it kind of doubles up, and what kind of science does around that. We avoided that in the dentist office tank. We never had shots in the corner of the tank, right? Because we couldn't do it on Nemo. And now in this film, it's like every opportunity we're putting some creature in a glass container with reflections and refractions.
It blew my mind because it wasn't flat. It was
fully refractive,
Yeah.
fully reflective. You know.
And Andrew was like, he wanted to go because they said, it's going to look weird because what it does naturally, and it's correct. I mean, but the way that where the character pops up in the reflection is gonna. And he was like, no, I want to, as much as possible, I want to go with what is right. Mm-hmm. If it gets in our way, we can certainly cheat it out of the way. But like, I want that camera to do. Yeah. He's like, because I know that even though that seems wrong and it seems weird, as people, we're educated to assume that. I mean, when we go to aquariums, we do see that. Yeah. And so even though it feels wrong when you're studying the one frame, I think you feel it kind of as a whole. It doesn't pop you out.
No. So, and when you'll see for yourself, and Brian, I think you can attest to the fact that you do fully see the visuals when Dory's in a coffee pot in the water and everything is going around and you're seeing reflections as you're shooting through fish tanks and all.
It's funny that she mentions that they try to put the characters or all various fish in a glass situation, because there definitely is a lot of situations in the film where the characters are placed in another, like you said, a coffee, the coffee holder or a cup or things like that. Mm-hmm. So it's funny that she said that, because that's true. The characters were always...
It's very true. And of course, hand in hand with what is captured, with the new technology and the water and the refraction and reflection is also the color. And one of the big things with the color is the colors of the coral reef, which you see and the sea life in the open ocean exhibit, is that lifted right out of the Great Barrier Reef down off the coast of Australia. Don't look at pictures now. You have to look at the ones from 50 years ago, because now the reef is dying thanks to global warming. Yes, it is real, people. Very real. But in order to see these Crayola-colored, wonders, they did a lot of research to find, to make sure everything is accurate. And this is what Lindsey had to say about the use of color.
We try to, and I think the only thing that we do, if anything, to adjust is that sometimes it's so vibrant when you put it all in there that it's hard to track the character within it. Mm-hmm. So to know where because your eye is so kind of attracted to these insane colors and these beautiful forms. So the one thing we do is we organize it a little bit more so that we create these shapes that kind of are allowed to fall back a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because it is. Nature is like, especially in coral reef. I mean, you're like, there's no way that's a real color. Like, that's like a Crayola color. Like, that's not a real color. And then you look at these pictures and you're like, oh no.
Where do people think Crayola got their colors?
I know, these colors are so that's why only thing we do sometimes is to try to knock it back and organize it a little bit so that your eye isn't so distracted by the beauty. I mean, when we can take advantage of it, like when Mr. Ray is swimming through, those are moments that we love, because it's like, okay, we can just create it and let it be as gorgeous as it should be, as nature gives it. So we don't, because we're not having to track.
Right.
It's allowing you. It's kind of indulging in the moment of flying through that reef.
And the third part, the third tine of the fork, so to speak, of Neptune's scepter, perhaps, is the texture and the viscosity of the water. Yeah, but the fact that you've got the different textures within the water, of the murkiness within the kelp, within the kelp fields.
Yeah.
You have the clarity, and then you go into the pipes, and you've got the corrosion and the rust and the barnacles.
The lighters, you can imagine, love that, because they get to take full advantage of all of the tools that they've got at their disposal, and because they feel like those are their sets, and so they're like, how do you make it really feel like we are in very different parts, which is what we did on the first film. But on this film, because we were going to be in smaller, it's not a big journey film. I mean, it's you're in these kind of smaller environments, so it was really more about playing with the quality of the water and the color of the water and the depth of the water and the particulates in there, and making them feel very different.
So, and with that, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with some more Dory and maybe Benson Lee. And we are back. And with us right now is Benson Lee. Are you there, Benson?
Debbie.
Hi, Benson.
Debbie Lynn.
How are you?
Debbie.
Hi, Benson.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am very busy.
Well, it's no wonder that you're very busy with a fabulous little film like Soul Searching.
Why, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
A total and complete delight watching this film.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
But the first thing I have to ask you about this film, and I alluded to it at the top of the show, was how much of your budget went for music rights? Because you have major hits out of the 80s as part of your musical soundtrack. This is amazing.
Music is definitely one of the more expensive parts of filmmaking, and I did get some pretty big hits from the 80s. But, I had a phenomenal music supervisor by the name of Rudy Chung from a company called Hit the Ground Running. And, you really can't, as a filmmaker, you really can't make a movie with lots of pop hits unless you have a great music supervisor, so I was very fortunate. And, honestly, it's, the landscape of licensing and all that has changed quite a bit in the past few years. So, and the further away, I guess, we get away from the 80s, it gets slightly cheaper, I think. But we were able to pull it off on a shoestring budget, and I'm very, very lucky that was possible.
Okay, well, I have to ask the big question. Are you going to release a soundtrack?
Yes, we'd like to, and that's actually another very challenging endeavor because I'm working with so many different labels, and sometimes labels, it's just easier if, all the tracks are from one particular music label, but they're from all over. So, yeah, that's definitely in our cards, but, there's a lot of work that needs to be done in order to make that happen. But, yeah, I'm actually going to release the playlist.
Oh, well, that's helpful. That's helpful.
Yep, absolutely.
Trust me, if you release a soundtrack, I will download, I will buy a CD, I will do whatever.
Wow.
Because I am
thank you.
I love the soundtrack, and everybody that sees Soul Searching is going to love it too. But now, tell everybody what this film is about, because yes, we've seen similar stories told by John Hughes in films like The Breakfast Club or 16 Candles. But you have a new spin on that.
Yes. I'm sorry. I missed the first part of your question. Were you just asking what the film is about?
Yeah, because, we've seen so much of this with John Hughes and his films, but you've put a new spin on that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Soul Searching basically is a teen comedy coming-of-age film about three boys three Korean boys from different parts of the world. One is Korean Mexican, the other is Korean German, one is Korean American, and they meet at the summer school in Korea in 1986, where they're supposed to learn about their heritage from their motherland, Korea. And it's there that these three very disparate characters come together and become very close friends and learn more about their cultural differences, although they have very similar faces, but they couldn't be more different in terms of their culture. And it's also about the girls that they meet. And all these experiences that they go through really qualifies, the best summer of their lives as teenagers. And, that's the basic premise of it. And for me, I'm a huge John Hughes fan from back in the 80s, and I watched his films religiously. But it was just that I wasn't very happy with the portrayal of Asians in his movies. And so I decided, I'd like to make the film that I wanted to see growing up, where there were positive characters with depth for Asian story, Asian movie.
Well, and something key that you do, Benson, is so many filmmakers, they will make everything stereotypical as to a specific ethnicity or ancestry. You don't. You're playing on cultural stereotypes more than ethnic.
Yeah.
We've got, the character of Sid, played by Justin Chan, is just amazing in the role. I mean, he is a typical, you look at him, one look at him, and you think Sid Vicious, you think punk rock of the 90s. I mean, it's fabulous. Klaus is very German, prim and proper to a T. You really pick up on the various culture, societal and cultural stereotypes as opposed to an ethnic one. And I just think that's fabulous.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it was a really fascinating summer for me. It was definitely more not so much because I learned about my heritage, but I learned more about the diaspora of Koreans around the world. And that applies to all kinds of ethnicities. Like, we live in a very multicultural, global, village now, where people have immigrated or emigrated, different countries, and you have so many different types of people living all around the world. And nationality isn't always an ethnicity. It's really sort of a state of mind. It's a culture that you're from. So, Klaus being Korean on the outside, but he's German. He's as German as any other German.
He's as German as all of my he's as German as all my relatives, let me tell you.
Yeah. And so, I always thought that was fascinating. And, so I wanted to show off that diversity within diversity, if you will. And at the end of the day, I think that really helped people to not only look at them as like, oh, this is just an Asian American story, but it's more culturally complex than that, because we have people from all around the world. And I think that's a very modern sort of component of my film, even though it takes place in 1986. But when I was 16 and I met these guys from other parts, because we didn't have the internet at that time, so we were very sheltered. We had no idea what type of people were living in other countries. And in one summer, I was able to meet like the entire, globe through one camp. So I really wanted to capture that experience in the movie.
And, what's really interesting is when I think back over the decades, is that the one constant we've always had was music, which connected every culture in the world. I remember back in the 60s, I met a cousin of mine from Germany for the very first time, came to the United States. She didn't speak a word of English. I didn't speak a word of German. And we connected through the grassroots sooner or later. And I see this. You've got, your Jessica Van, who plays Grace Park. She's very into Madonna. And everybody knows all the songs. Everybody can relate to the music. And that, I think, is a wonderful global unification factor you have.
Thank you. And you're right. Music really is one of the most binding things in the world that, people can relate to. And especially 80s. 80s is almost synonymous with 80s pop music, And there's so many iconic songs from that era, such an iconic sound and so on. So I've met so many people from all over, the world who've seen the movie who could definitely relate to, the coming of age theme, as well as and the music and the fashion and so on. So that was definitely one of the more funner parts of the process for me, was selecting the music and going back in time with my costume designer Shirley Kurata to find the perfect outfits to represent that era and so on. So yes,
your costume designer is just absolutely amazing. Did not
Shirley,
she did not miss a beat. Didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, Shirley, I was so lucky to work with Shirley. She's a really famous stylist. She works with Pharrell, lots of other big celebrities, and but she's also from that era. So that's one, it was really important for me that when I met, when I was selecting a costume designer, that they really understood that era in terms of clothing. And Shirley totally got it. Like we studied so many yearbooks from the 80s and looked at old videos, and, it all came, rushing back to us. But it's great because, the costume is also an extension of the character. So, in addition to getting the style right, but it really had to, be complement the character. And it's not easy, making that look flawless or really natural for the character. So she did an amazing job.
Well, and now where can we find Soul Searching, Benson? It comes out tomorrow.
Soul Searching,
tomorrow.
Actually, it was already released in New York last Friday on June 17th. It's playing at the AMC Empire 25 in Times Square till this Thursday, June 23rd. And then we're opening in LA this Friday on June 24th. And to celebrate our opening in LA, we're actually going to host a 80s premiere after party in the theme of an 80s teen comedy prom.
Oh, my God.
Okay? Yeah, so in downtown Los Angeles, at the Majestic, we are holding a prom, an 80s prom, and basically it's anyone who buys a movie ticket for opening weekend from Friday to Sunday, June 24th to 26th, at the Laemmle, where we're opening, can get into our prom this Friday night for free.
Oh,
okay?
my God.
And, yeah, so I really want to encourage people to come because it's going to be, if you like the soundtrack of my movie, you're going to totally love this party. We have one of the best 80s DJs in Los Angeles. We're going to have slow jams. We're going to have balloon photo booths, just like in the prom.
Oh,
and we encourage everyone to come in either 80s prom wear or 80s costume. We're going to have a prom king and queen contest. And, so it's going to be just a magical night. And, if anyone wants to buy a ticket, movie ticket, and come learn more about our prom, they can come to our website, which is soulsearchingthemovie.com. And that's SEOUL, like Seoul, Korea, soulsearchingthemovie.com.
Oh, my God. All right, Shane's probably laughing because he knows I'm thinking, oh, I may have to go to this.
You have to, lady, if you love my soundtrack, seriously, you need to come to this party. And you need to bring your friends because it's going to be, you rarely get to go out these days and hear phenomenal 80s music, right?
True.
And it's all about, celebrating Asian Americans in film and, just having a wonderful, it's like the prom is like the extension of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
We want it to be an experiential experience for our viewers. So, because, in every good teen comedy from the 80s, there's always the prom, right?
Yep.
Where everything goes down at the prom. So, as you know, we have that scene in our movie.
Absolutely have that scene.
And to be quite honest, for many of us, this will probably be the last chance we get to experience a prom.
Mm-hmm.
And, so it should be a lot of fun. So please, let Shane know, and he'll set everything up for you. And,
Benson, I can't thank
come.
you so much. This is so fun. You're going to have to come
Thank
back on the
you.
show again. Promise.
I would love to. Thank you so much for covering us.
And hopefully I will see you Friday night.
Yes. Please find me so I can give you a hug.
I will. Thanks, Benson.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
And that was Benson Lee talking Soul Searching. Okay, and Brian is going to bring our two very special guests live. Sheri, are you there?
I am. I can barely hear you, but a little bit. I'm here.
You can always barely hear me. And Ian, are you are you there as well?
I'm here, and I can barely hear you.
Uh-oh, Brian, do something.
Oh, that's a little better. When you yell, it's better.
When I yell, oh, well, I'm good at that. I'm
okay.
This is such a treat. Sheri, you know I love having you on the show, and you know how much I love this short.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. I think it's my third or fourth time back, so it's greatly appreciated, all your support, Debbie.
And this is so fabulous. The last time you were on, and we had wanted you to come on too, Ian, but I think you were in Bhutan shooting.
Yes, I was. I was in Bhutan. I'm not... Yes, I was there.
This is so much. It's like I'm doing the former General Hospital players roundup on this show. I've had so many former GH cast members and current cast members on the show. It's hilarious.
Just coincidentally, or is this something?
No, it happens. It ends up being just coincidentally.
Oh.
But of course,
because they all have nothing else to do, I guess.
Well, that's very possible with some of them. But you're always busy.
Yeah, I'm busy. I've been busier, but I kind of, as I get a little older, I don't really like to be so kind of all over the place. It's quite nice to not be spread so thinly and to focus on stuff that I just enjoy. So that's enough to keep me busy.
Well, I'm so glad that you were slow enough that you could do One Night in Hollywood, because...
Oh, me too. I loved it. It was great fun. I had the best time doing that, and I look forward to whatever comes along with whatever follows it, like a week or a month or a year in Hollywood, whatever the sequence is.
A lifetime in Hollywood.
A decade in Hollywood.
You know, knowing Sheri, she could do a week in Hollywood, a month in Hollywood, a year in Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
And you'll just have to keep coming back. And
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's the plan, is to follow up with the feature 1 week in Hollywood, which we actually wrote before we did the short. So if all goes well, it looks pretty good. We should be shooting that in the next 6 months.
Well, and of course, people may not know this yet because they're gonna learn all about One Night in Hollywood in the coming days now. But you know, you won a Best Supporting Actor at the United International Film Festival, Ian.
I did. Thank you very much. And Sheri presented me with my award at the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, which was kind of like the highlight of receiving it. I wasn't able to be there on the night, so we got together, and I still have the certificate sitting out there. It's very funny.
I mean, but your performance, this is something, this character we have not seen from you before. You are deliciously decadent.
Yes, it's actually kind of it's the sort of character that I enjoyed playing it because he gets to say all the things I think that I never express. So that's what I kind of liked about it. He just gets to. It's almost like he's based on several people, but people that I really don't particularly care for. But I kind of like that, just explosive, like almost like verbal diarrhea or Tourette's or something, just completely like just say whatever they think they're in control and then absolutely just lose it, which I think is great fun to play, not so much fun to be around them.
What did you think when you read this script? Because this whole project, One Night in Hollywood or 1 week in Hollywood, this really is the darkest comedic skewering of the entertainment industry that I think I've seen in many a year.
Yes, I think it almost kind of ranks up there with Mulholland Highway and maybe Sunset Boulevard. It's just that kind of just that dark, what people will do to get their baby, or to create the lengths people will go to. And I mean, you see definitely, of course, you see the reality in Hollywood sometimes is pretty dark.
Mm-hmm.
Because people get pretty desperate and shameless and will do the most amazing things just to either get noticed or get some kind of attention. But it's not always funny. I mean, unless you kind of just find it funny. But that's what I like about the script and about the making the movie. It was kind of there are traces of it's very realistic, I think, but it's also incredibly funny. But what the lengths that people will go to just to be successful in this town.
Mm-hmm. How do you dive into a character like this? And do you ever have trepidation because so many people know you and love you for being Duke Lavery on General Hospital? I mean, the fan outcry over losing Duke has just been gigantic.
Well, it's been 27 years, I think, of losing Duke.
Off and on and off and on. But now
off and on. It's like a wound that just keeps opening up. It's like, and then put a little salt in it. Why don't you? It's like it's extraordinary.
Well, this time, even after the ashes got thrown.
No, I don't. I mean, when I've always sort of tried to balance going from, the sort of romantic lead to being like wacky. So I've always kind of balanced it only because it makes it more satisfying for me. And I think when I did Twin Peaks after doing soap operas and after doing General Hospital, I did Twin Peaks and did Gary Shandling's show. I think people were a little shocked. There were people in the business that, are you really sure you want to do this? Are you really sure you want to break that mold? And it never crossed my mind that I didn't think it was an issue, and it was never an issue for me. I think it was an issue for other people, but I get nervous anytime I start anything I do, but not for those reasons, not because it's going to go against what I think people want me to be or want to see, or I just get nervous because I want to be my best, and that requires often digging very deep and getting over fear and getting over, So, yeah, that's the only time I get. And I'm going to do a voiceover today, and I'm already wishing they'd cancel because I'm like, oh, my God, seriously?
Well, what
am I going to do? What am I going to say? Will something come out when I open my mouth? Oh, my God.
The only reason you should cancel today is so you don't have to leave the comfort of a nice air-conditioned home to even go out in the heat for 5 minutes.
And go to the valley, please.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's unfortunately, voiceovers mean San Fernando Valley. Special effects mean San Fernando Valley.
Oh, no.
Vampire teeth mean the valley.
And the peak temperature today, I heard on KNX coming in this morning, is supposed to be at 108 this afternoon.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it?
Oh,
Unbelievable.
You have my sympathy. So, Sheri, what is it that led you to bringing Ian into this project?
Actually, it was a mutual friend who was our executive producer. It was Francesca von Habsburg. About 3 in the morning, I got a Facebook message after we were working on the feature, and with Marcus Ryman, who is Francesca's friend, and we were just packaging the feature, and I simply got a Facebook message, "Do you know Ian Buchanan, this actor? He's a friend. Here's his number. Call him. He should be in your film." And that was it. So we called Ian, and we met at the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf in 1 week in Hollywood fashion. And we had coffee and talked for about 2 hours, and we clicked, and that was it. And he was attached to the feature, and we decided to do the short as a teaser for the feature. We did it a little backwards. And I, of course, reached out to Ian, who was so gracious to do it. And I said, I have a great part that's a sort of composite character from the feature. And I actually was just talking to Ian about characters he wanted to play and what type of role, because I could do a lot with the role I had in mind for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he sort of went on a rant, and I went to my computer and sort of just wrote down what he said, and that was it.
Oh, my God. So, in other words, Ian, this role was really customized for you.
Sadly enough.
I think there's actually, I should have given Ian a writing credit, to be honest. He's like, my list is long, is one of my favorite lines that Ian, I don't know if you remember saying on the phone. We were just talking about Hollywood and the idea of One Night in Hollywood.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I think you need, if money comes in and you can get an extra check, Ian, I think then you take the writing credit.
Yes. Or else, yes. You can represent me on that, Debbie. Thank you very much.
It would be my pleasure. My pleasure. I still think back to going back 27 years ago or whatever. The first time you and I actually met, Ian, was in North Hollywood at the Colfax Park. I was covering the event and doing interviews, and there were a ton of General Hospital cast there.
Oh, right. I remember that.
And
yeah.
I met you and Finola for the first time, and I finally found it, and I have to put it up on Facebook, a picture of the three of us that was taken.
Wow.
And you and Finola, because I had already worked with Finola on Staying Alive in New York, the Stallone-directed movie.
Yes.
So it was such a treat to actually have both of you there at the same time. And that was really in the heyday of the Duke Lavery character. And you could get, Duke's Place T-shirts, and, GH was at the top of the
yes.
of the pinnacle.
Yes, it was. It definitely was. Those were the glory days, or the Gloria days, as we called them.
Well, yeah, and now it looks like they're trying to come back to the Gloria days with a lot of the things being incorporated, which could be more phantom visions of Duke Lavery.
It could be. I don't see. I don't see why not. I mean, I kind of think. I quite like the ghosting thing. I mean, the apparition thing was a little odd because obviously she was putting words in my mouth. Which, I mean, how many times can you say, "You've never looked more beautiful"? I was like, seriously, like. She's like, shut up! It's my apparition. I was like, yeah, okay, but.
And seriously, she has looked better.
Ghosting was quite nice, though. I sort of liked the whole ghosting aspect. It was like, that just appearing and being very. I like that. I mean, now that I have a son there, I don't know why I wouldn't want to for my son, but I don't know. I don't. They don't have a ghost writer, I guess. It's not my department. We'll see.
So now tell us, Ian, because you finished shooting in Bhutan for what? The Temple is the film?
Yes, the Temple.
What is? Can you tell us what that's about, or is that hush hush under wraps?
It's kind of hush hush buried.
Oh, that kind of hush hush.
Yes. It's so hush hush. I don't think it exists anymore. I'm not quite sure. It may resurface, but it was great. It was kind of a horror, very gory, in the happiest place on earth, which was kind of interesting. It was lovely. I had a great time. I was there for 5 weeks, and I had a wonderful time. It's a beautiful country, and yeah, I don't know what will happen with it. I have no idea. I actually haven't had an update recently, so I'm not quite sure. I don't think they have enough to complete it. And there is talk of them trying to shoot some other stuff to try to get something out of it. So we'll see.
And is anything true to will Finola be directing you in a film?
She almost did last summer, and then one element fell out, so everything got pushed back. She almost did. We almost went to Scotland to direct not her first feature, but I think her like a big feature. We were almost there last summer. Almost when I left General Hospital, she left too, and we were supposed to be going there to do that, and then one of the one person fell out, and everything fell apart.
That was so tactfully phrased.
Yeah.
So tactfully phrased. That's when and I'm sure
if it was one night in Hollywood, I would have had a fit already, and
I was going to say, if you were...
It's exactly what our feature and our short is about. It's like...
But, now everybody's going to have a chance to see One Night in Hollywood, aren't they, Sheri?
Yes, actually, tomorrow we premiere. We got a distribution deal with Shorts HD, so it'll be on, if you go to www.shorts.tv, we'll be premiering tomorrow, and they'll give you a program guide on that website. So we'll be internationally seen also on iTunes, Amazon Prime, Google. And then we have a few more festivals to round out, our festival year. The Hudson Valley Comedy Festival, June 29th through July 2nd in Kingston, New York. Mm-hmm. And then the Acme Comedy Night in Hollywood. It'll be July 20th through 23rd. And we're on Facebook. We have a One Night in Hollywood Facebook page, so we post all the specific screening times and dates, and we're on Twitter, and Ian has a wonderful fan club who's been super supportive. So we're blasting through social media with all our bulletins, and it's been really nice.
Oh, Ian, you have one of the most devoted fan clubs that I have come across in all of my years. I mean, they're actually pretty wonderful, and I get to actually spend time with a lot of them, which is great. I love that, and I try to be connected, and because they are absolutely, they go from become more friends than fans, and are very supportive of everything, and I was probably one of the last to show up at the social media party. I think I was kind of forced into it because I really didn't think it was something that I wanted to be involved in, but I really like it, and it's broadened my horizons, broadened my fan base, obviously, but it allows me to be in direct contact, and not have somebody who doesn't know me answer questions on my behalf. So it allows me to be more present, and has actually allowed me to be more present in my life, because it's kind of, you can't, it's out there, you say things, it's out there, people, you have to, it's your word, you have to kind of live by it. So I kind of like that. It's made me, I can't say it's made me grow up. I feel like I've grown up a little more on social media. So I thank my fans and my friends and everybody for that, because I don't get too much negativity. I mean, sometimes it's
gone before I even notice it. So, I mean, that's the one thing I hate about social media, is that people feel anonymity gives them the right to be cruel, and I just can't stand that. So.
And as we
I
all
don't encourage it. I don't approve of it. I don't allow it, and anybody to attack anybody on any of my pages, or definitely not. I mean, they can attack. I can take care of myself, but I usually I'm very Scottish when it comes to that. Very, very controlling.
So I have to ask you, and how was your birthday the other day?
It was great. It wasn't just the other day. It was like the whole week.
Well, you know.
I sort of forgot which day it was, because I think it started 2 days early. And somebody on Facebook said happy birthday, and everybody thought it was my birthday. And I thought, no, well, okay, thank you. And then my real birthday, it was great. And then I had a little celebration on Friday as well. That was lovely, and so it was great. I loved it. It was very, very nice. It was very overwhelming outpouring of just great love and support, and that was wonderful. I really liked it. Birthdays never have meant a great deal to me. I have a brother who's exactly 1 year older, 1 year and a month, and we always celebrated our birthdays on his birthday, which was May 4th. So when I was a kid, I was always like, well, it doesn't make any difference. It's fine. So it's only since I've become an adult and that I got to appreciate my own birthday. So it just never really mattered to me. Now it kind of doesn't. It's not terribly important, but it matters to other people. So I kind of I participate, which is great. I love it. No balloons. No balloons.
And of course, now your birthday gets to continue. Your celebration continues tomorrow, since everybody will be able to see One Night in Hollywood on Shorts TV.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
I can't think of a better birthday present than that.
Well, the interesting thing is, I think, being an actor, there are sort of milestones throughout the year that, if you're busy, there are great things happening. You're beginning stuff, you're ending stuff, things are being premiered, things are being, So it's always like the personal stuff for me just is there. But it's very nice. It's like, yes, people seeing One Night in Hollywood is just as important as my birthday, so I'm looking forward to that.
Well, and I'm looking forward to more people seeing it, so that Sheri will be able to make 1 week in Hollywood, so we can see even more of you.
Yes, exactly. Or at least the weekend in Hollywood.
At least the weekend.
Yeah, we might go one night, 1 weekend, and then the 1 week in Hollywood. I don't know. We'll do a long short film. I don't know. This could go on forever. And then also, just so you know, the Shorts TV is on Direct TV. So if you have a movie package with Direct TV, if you look, you actually will be able to get Shorts HD, Shorts TV. It's called, and they're a great distribution company for short films. They represent all the Oscar films, and we were really fortunate to get that distribution deal. So we're grateful to them too.
Yeah, because a short film I executive produced is also showing on DirecTV Shorts HD right now, Bunker. So
fantastic!
We'll both have films out there at the same time.
Yay!
God, I can't thank both of you so much. This has been fabulous. Ian, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you it's always lovely chatting with you, and thank you for your wonderful support. It's greatly appreciated.
Oh, always. And I know that based on the number of impressions and retweets and repostings and everything about you being on today's show, I know right now there is a cadre of live listeners listening to you. And
excellent.
I'm sure there will be even more on when the show goes up on iTunes tomorrow. So
wonderful! That's great. I'm very happy to have done it. Now I'm going to try to wear as loose amount of clothing as possible, make my way to the valley, and survive.
Yes, please stay cool so you can come back and do some more fun stuff.
I will. Thank you both.
Oh,
thank you,
Ian,
Debbie.
thank
you, Sheri.
you.
I'll see you soon.
And thank you, Sheri.
Okay, thank you, and thanks, Ian. He's been what a great opportunity to work with Ian. He's been so gracious and supportive of our little film, and it was really nice. Thanks, Ian.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank
you. Bye, Debbie. Thank you.
And that was Sheri Sussman, and yes, the one and only Ian Buchanan, General Hospital's Duke Lavery. Who knows? So tomorrow you can see him in One Night in Hollywood. And as he said, he'd be open to ghosting again and appearing as Duke. So everybody over at GH, powers that be, take a listen to that. So let's see. I'm looking for Brian here. Do we have time to do another Dory clip here? All right. Which one should we do? Well, then we will do. Let's hear what Ed O'Neill and Ellen had to say about Finding Dory when I asked them, since Andrew Stanton earlier in the day had said to me, had said that Hank is to Dory what Dory was to Finding Nemo. So it begged the important question.
Earlier, Andrew said that Hank is to this film what Dory was to Finding Nemo. Now, does that mean that we will see a subsequent movie now with Hank? And if so, will you be championing the cause on Ellen's show?
We were just talking about this.
I said that on our way out. I said, I bet there's going to be a sequel. We have to find out.
Be a little baby Hank.
A baby Hank, flashback, little angry, grumpy baby.
Where he lost his tentacle.
So yes, if Andrew's paying attention, that yes, there will be a campaign for that.
So after this weekend's box office, I'm sure Ellen will be starting the campaign shortly. So is that, we have time to do the one more clip. Director Andrew Stanton talking about the music of Finding Nemo. Finding
I want to ask
Dory.
about the music in the film. It's very simple. It's very elegant. Thomas Newman's score is beauteous.
Yeah.
As an understatement.
Yep.
The two songs that you select, though, all that we hear, timeless classics. What led you to those selections?
It was sort of thematic to just the first movie. There was, I think, we were under a little pressure to put a song for marketing reasons at the end of Finding Nemo. And I really didn't want the movie to suddenly be tainted with this sort of sellout quality to it. And so I suggested this pre-existing song that I had heard Robbie Williams do of Beyond the Sea, and I just felt like it was an old classic. But it had a very modern sort of appreciation for it, and it just fit. It just kind of fit. And so fortunately we were able to get the rights. And that sort of set kind of a bar or a tone for the next movie. I felt like we should do the same. And
You always wanted Unforgettable.
I always wanted Unforgettable. It just
was always at the end of the movie.
Like was who?
Yeah, it was just who was going to sing it, and then
the Louis Armstrong song was honestly, I already had a Louis Armstrong song in Wally, and I was like, well, really, should I really go there again? But the funny thing is that my co-director Angus MacLean had come up with that song, and it was so funny. And we tried all these other songs, and it just lost its humor. It was not funny. It's just that voodoo of comedy that, like, suddenly that idea plus Louis Armstrong was funny. So.
And it's just, I think it was the genuine, like the slow-mo, overly dramatic kind of Thelma and Louise moment combined with this.
So that is all the time we have today. Just a reminder to all of you, we finally have a Twitter page. You can follow Behind the Lens at BTL Radio Show. And stay tuned because we're going to have some breaking news later this week. And we may have another General Hospital vet alum, Jeffrey Vincent Parise. Most of you know him as Carlos, the man that killed Duke Lavery. Until next week, I'm Debbie Elias. This is Behind the Lens.